Welcome to Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from NIGHTCARVER Designs. Today on the show, we have Kristin Stockdale. She has her company, Stockdale Designs, and she leads two very big, very well-known events, Haven and Workbench Con. She is a very talented designer and a lover of learning, of people pushing their boundaries and being brave and bold. So you're probably going to be a little inspired and super excited if you're going to be heading to Haven or Workbench Con. It's a lot of fun and you learn a ton. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Sabertooth, who you guys all know I love. And if you want to get into power carving, I can save you 10% with the code NIGHTCARVER10 in all caps. All right, let's get to know Kristin.
Hello.
Hey.
Is that the wallpaper on
Yes!
the wall?
Yeah.
That looks so good.
Love it. I know. And then my daughter painted the bright yellow for me for Mother's Day.
That's awesome. I'm like, instantly I saw it and I'm like, I know when we talked last, you're like, I want to have it for when we record. I'm like, she did it.
Yeah, well, a lot of help from my daughter because otherwise I don't know what I would have done because it would have been wallpaper and yellow.
Yeah, it looks good. What color is that? Is it like a black or is it?
It's a deep, deep teal. Let me see if I have the shoot. Oh, yes, I do. It is thermal.
Thermal? The contrast is really nice. It gives a nice pow.
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 Yeah, so I'm excited. I'll do some, I've got a new, like a velvet 1920s kind of inspired bed and my
Nice.
grandmother's like French knot bed spread. So I'm excited. I'll do the whole thing. I don't know when, but
It's hard to fit in some stuff with your life. It seems like you're always on the move.
I travel a lot for all different reasons, but yeah, I want to do, honestly, I want to do my own blog, like lifestyle,
Yeah.
and I've wanted to forever. I need to start acting like a job, like carving out 2 hours a day or what have you to just do it.
Get it
Otherwise I will
going.
never,
Yeah.
ever do it.
I stalked your page. I actually stalked Haven down to the beginning because I was curious when it started. And you started at 2013, but is that
Yes.
when Haven started as well? Or was
So,
it something going on before that?
Does it say 2013? Because I thought our first year, I'm pretty sure our first year was 2012.
I feel like it had to have been. The post is April 28th, 2013,
Mhm.
but counting down the days until Haven, it sounded like it's already happened before. And like, here's part two. So that's why I was curious about it because it seemed like it must have started 1 year prior to it.
Yeah.
But the first post is on April 28th, 2013.
Well, and that very well could be. So it started with a conversation between a gal named Rhoda and myself in 2011. And then she knew a whole bunch of other women that she met at a general huge blogging conference.
Oh, okay.
And they all thought, we really would love to have a niche down conference.
Yeah.
And so she found me through my neighbor actually. And then we just connected and clicked and met with the whole group. And Haven was born with one idea after another. And
So cool.
yeah, it really has been amazing blessing to everybody I think involved. And then all of the attendees, it's been so great for our souls to hear all the stories that kind of come out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really neat, like going through the page and going all the way down through the years. First of all, I was like, Mike Holmes, I love Mike Holmes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see like it just keeps evolving into more and more, but it's really neat. I love the you had challenges for like photo a day contests and things like that.
Yes.
That's really neat.
We can completely start doing those here soon, like in mid-June, I guess we can
Do some
start
kind
getting
of,
everybody amped up for that. And then our sponsors jump in and host a couple challenges too. So that's
neat.
always fun.
When does that usually start?
Like we will be sending out those emails for Rust-Oleum's challenge, transformational challenge this week.
Cool.
And then we have one with wood grain, and that will go out probably first half of next week.
So it's about to get really, really exciting.
It is.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yes.
You can feel the energy on the site and stuff. Like when I'm watching everybody share and start and talk about it now, like you could just see it growing right now. It's cool.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I love it. And our attendees are just so good. The way that they interact with each other and the information that they share. It's awesome.
What were your first classes for the first year? Do you remember?
Yes. So photography, we had a lot of photography because back then,
Photos were king.
Facebook existed,
Yep.
but you really weren't using a whole lot of social media to grow your blog. You were, it was like all email lists and just the information that you shared and being well known. And there were a bunch of, I don't know if you remember, like all of the, like the chat boxes and stuff. I'm trying to think of
the groups and stuff.
Yes, all the groups. And so they were just really active in all of those. So, and like, I think Yahoo Messenger maybe was a thing, and MySpace, and
it's different apps with different ways of communicating than it is now.
100%.
Yeah.
So we did sessions on all of that. And then really growing your blog, growing your following and your readership and your subscribers. That was a lot of the classes. Photography. We had a lot more hands-on. So back then it was 50% blogging business and 50% hands-on.
Okay.
And now there's so much more business. There's influencer business with social media. There's, I mean, just so much. There's like Pinterest and I mean, all kinds of avenues. And then we also, there's really just a lot of different ways to make money doing this content creation business. Mm-hmm. So we try to kind of enlighten and broaden everybody's scope. So they're not just focused on brand relations or just focused on Instagram.
Yeah, I saw there was like SEO breakdown for like your websites, like just to understand a certain topic like that is huge.
Yes.
The taxes for influencers. I know,
and those are,
I got that great class, things that she wish she knew before she started creating content. Like,
yes, those are all great too. And those are all kind of new. HTML website creation was something big that was back then. Now it seems like folks hire that out a lot more than the DIY.
Yeah, it makes sense. Or you use like a subscription that makes it easier to build your site so you can do it yourself, but like in a very easy, basic way.
And that has come so far for blogging. You know, I mean, it's like plug and play almost.
Yeah, that's neat. I'm curious, just in general, over the years, what classes have you attended yourself that have helped you grow? Or have you had the chance? I was going to say that, or have you even had the chance to get into any of these? So that's hard, huh? Like to see all these classes happening and not be able to participate.
Exactly. Well, so that's why I was so jazzed about starting Haven with this group of amazing, talented women. They all had beautiful blogs. And so I was so excited to learn from, the best. Yep. But my job is so tactile and, in the trenches per se.
I was just thinking about Workbench Con. I don't think I saw you breathe,
No,
so
right.
I can imagine.
Which is exactly where I truly want to be. It's what makes my heart sing. But yeah, that is why I started. I was like, you don't even have to pay me. I'm going to learn and we'll be good. And then it just, just kept growing and growing. Yeah. And so pretty cool.
Now, did you have past experience with throwing events like that from your career before?
Yes. Yeah. So I started as a interior designer and studied architecture. Loved it. But, you just start to get burned out, and more of my clients, that creative side, I just kind of go in circles.
Yeah.
More and more of my clients started hiring me for their special events because I would throw these, great little events for my girls or for my parents or what have you. And that is really where I found what I love is one day, one of my clients hired me for her corporate event, and they had Macy's as their benchmark. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, and so much pressure. And I just built 10 different Christmas trees in my garage, around the clock. Loved every second of it. The girls helped me glitter and glue and yada, yada. And so, I'm like, okay, I have got to make a career change
Out of doing this. Yeah.
And so I started my own business with that, and life happens, and I just needed a little bit more structure and a paycheck, a regular paycheck. And so a girlfriend of mine had a corporate events business. Hers was not so much like special detailed design, but it taught me a lot about the logistic side of events.
I'm sure you made some good contacts too in that process.
Exactly. And I just that's actually how my neighbor contacted me with Rhoda, because I had just come back from a huge conference in San Diego, and had so much pride and was so happy. Everything went great. Client was super happy. And and then one thing led to another. And at the time I still had my full-time job. I was just kind of doing this on the side. And then Workbench started 4 years ago. And thank God, because that's about the same time that my mom was really sick. So I kept my job for 2 more years and then was able to leave my job and just do these 2 special events. And then I do some other corporate events like Christmas is always a really busy time for me. And, a few things here and there, like next weekend, I'm helping with a wedding. So some things busy here and there, keep it, really fun and energetic. But yeah, I can't complain 1 second about my job. I love it.
I have a blast helping out with all the stuff that you do. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well,
it's always changing.
I am so grateful for you, because you do all the things that I don't really, I love to interact on social, but not like a job. Like you do so great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really do. So it's awesome.
It was tough with Haven at first because I didn't know that crew. Like I wasn't following a lot of those accounts. Only a few kind of like hopped over from like the Workbench Con crew. And now I'm starting to get to know everybody. It's really fun. I kind of can I'm learning who they are and their personalities. So it is really interesting to see everybody. And I'm getting super excited to actually meet them all when we're at Haven. It's a great group of people. Like, how did you narrow down your focus to those 2 general areas, like the DIY and then the lifestyle?
So that's my total background. I love the DIY everything. I think it's a spirit that I connect with. I feel like that's one of my really strong points, is that resourcefulness. And so I really admire that in all of you guys, all the attendees and the speakers and mentors. I think everybody has this DIY spirit, and what that means is you're courageous, you get the job done. You go back to the drawing board a couple times if the first time fails, but you see it all the way through. And there's something about that that's just really special. And so that's what I love. That didn't really answer your question, but I started as an architect in college. I would take those studios where you have to learn how to use tools and as a woman, Haven was the first one that I started with. And as a woman using tools, it was rare.
Yeah.
And so, but very, very empowering. And so I remember the first time that I was able to walk into one of our workshop rooms, and Ryobi was hosting a scroll saw class.
Oh, wow.
And 25 women with scroll saws in their hands and smiles on their faces. I started crying. It like that just enveloped everything that I wanted, It's like, we're really empowering women to have the confidence to use new things and broaden their list of things that they can do and bring to their clients or bring to their homes or what have you. So
right, just general skills for life too. Just you have an issue, oh, I can fix that really quick myself, I know how to use this tool, or I can make that
exactly. Exactly. And self-pride is like priceless. And then also, again, for women specifically, Jess Crow says it best, but she does a lot of our epoxy class. She does all of our epoxy classes.
She's
and
great.
She is amazing. And she started, it's kind of like the whole direct sales idea. She started creating her craft and selling it, and now kills it. Right.
Oh yeah. So, she's got a whole maker epoxy with Total Boat. Like, that's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And so she was able to have that freedom and make choices in her life that were all based on the right motives, and as women, sometimes we get stuck in situations where we can't make those choices. And I feel like when we have alternate resources of income and, the strengths in those areas, we have freedom.
Like I told you, working for you now has given me the freedom to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on myself. I'm going to quit my job that I've been 16 years at and, try this out. And like everything that I'm learning and stuff like that, it's all contributing to it too. So like, I know like when I'm at Haven, I'm going to be popping in those classes and absorbing because I need it. And it's going to be so awesome. And just to take that back and bring it home and that same energy, just like from Workbench Con, you come back so your mind doesn't stop moving. It's really great. You've created something amazing, just so you know, because people literally leave there, have 1,000 ideas and they start trying them, and some fail, and some might just pop off and be amazing and change your life. So you never know.
You never know. And that's just it. And the failures, my mom taught me, if you never fail, you never have anything to come back from. And so I think that's beautiful, because failing at something does not define you or me or us. It's just setting us up for a success when we take that next step and we brush off our knees and we go forward, because now we know.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah. Oh, believe me, I failed so much with my CNC when I first got it. so many boards just drilled right through.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll be doing the same with this laser as I learn it. I know. But I did get it turned on. Oh, it is. No, it is.
Yeah. It's frustrating too. I'm not gonna, I don't want to, let anything, people think that I'm like, pink elephants and rainbows.
Failures are fun.
It's not fun, but
you learn a lot from it. That's the whole point. Yeah.
And you are going to fail. I mean, you are.
Absolutely.
It's a given in just about everything, I think. But
I'm curious, because I know at like Workbench Con, you gave a speech and not everybody got to hear it. And that's like one of the big reasons I wanted to record with you tonight. When people attend these events, I would love you to just kind of explain what, kind of like you did to everybody else, how you envision it for them. Like if they go to a class and it's not working for them, what should they do? Things like that.
Yes. Okay. So I think I know at least 2, and I might go into 3 big pieces of advice. Be bold. So, and by bold, I mean this in several different ways. One, don't be afraid to walk up to somebody. If you are walking by and you overhear something that you're intrigued by, smile at that person, make eye contact, and hopefully that circle or whatever, they'll open up and read that and be bold and join in that conversation, because the friendships and the collaborations that get made from those interactions are crazy powerful.
Absolutely.
So be bold in that. And I understand that that's intimidating, but just keep a smile on your face, keep your ears open, and keep your eyes looking at other people's eyes and make that eye contact. So put yourself in a position where you're making those doors open. And then also with sessions, if you see a session and you read the description and you arrive at the class and it is not what you're looking for, if it's either too beginner, too advanced, not the right description.
Yeah.
It is okay. No one is going to take it personally for you to quietly just leave. Nobody wants you to waste your time at a session that is wasting your time. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I mean, you only have so many classes you can choose from at one time, because they do overlap. And I mean, I can't imagine with scheduling it, it's impossible to spread those out. So you have to make an educated choice. And if you make the wrong one, perhaps, like you said, maybe the description didn't match what they were teaching about, which I know you're not trying to do that, but that just happens sometimes. Things shift.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah. No one can control that. So make a decision, help yourself.
Exactly. So yeah, one of my favorite, explanation sentences is be bold.
Yeah.
Because it really does help you in so many ways. And it is intimidating getting up out of a classroom that's, maybe a quarter of the way in and you're like, oh, this is not for me. So my advice also is, if you feel like there is some sort of uncertainty when you're making your schedule, go ahead and highlight your second choice, because that way you can beeline it to your second choice and not miss too much.
Yeah, so true. And people they leave, they go in and out through these classes.
They do.
Yeah.
And you might have to go to the bathroom. You may have a phone call. I mean, nobody knows. And everybody does care on a level, but it's not on you. You just go ahead and leave and go to something that makes more sense for you.
Absolutely. But it was smart. I really liked hearing that in the beginning, because for me too, like, I'm not somebody who's going to get up and leave in those situations. And I actually did do that the second day. I'm like, you know what? No, I'd rather go to this, or, or take a minute and just socialize with some people, which is
that's
huge.
Right too.
Yeah.
It's sometimes too many classes can get, unless you're a good note taker, you have a great comprehension level. Mm-hmm. Sometimes 6 classes in 2 days is a lot.
It is.
And it's a lot of information. So you may want to, on Saturday, go and use that time to talk to sponsors, or meet with somebody that you've clicked with and that you want to, do a collaboration, a living room, or a luncheon series, or what have you, whatever the theme might be, and talk about that and flesh it out a little bit more in person. Because in person, I know coming off of COVID, we've all learned this virtual format, which is a beautiful thing, but there's so much power in reading people's energy and vibes at an in-person event. So it's important. It's
an amazing experience too, to just see everybody in one room. It was really cool.
Yeah. No, it's so fun. The energy is like off the chart.
Yeah, no, it was. You could just feel everybody's energy, as exhausting as that can be. So be prepared to be hungover afterwards.
Yes. Even if you don't drink, because you don't drink.
I don't drink. I was hungover for a week. It was rough.
Sensory overload.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's worth it. It is so worth it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's a really neat thing. And I like how it's evolved, like I said, into, like you said, Workbench Con as well. So that was another thing that you had a conversation, and that stemmed from that, right? It was someone, if I recall.
Yeah. So we had Haven, and
Yep.
you know, Haven's branding is very feminine.
Mhm.
We've never said women only, but it is primarily women that
Right.
attend. And um, you know, year after year, more and more men came because vlogging became really popular.
Right. They want to learn.
And the YouTubers came on strong, and just da 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 da. And one thing led to another. And I had a conversation in the elevator at Haven, I guess 2017. And Workbench was born from legit an elevator conversation. So that's
Crazy.
another piece of advice. Is have your kind of elevator pitch down, no joke, you know,
Yeah.
because you never know what can happen in an elevator. And again, be bold. If you're looking at someone and you know this somebody and they're in the elevator with you, say, hey, Karianne, oh my gosh, I love that you shared your whole story about your New England home and da da da. Be bold to say something to this person, call them by name, let them know why you appreciate them.
Yeah.
It's only going to make people feel special.
Yeah.
You're not going to look bad. Don't even, and who knows? Karianne might want to invite me to her New England home, and we do a whole cooking study together. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows what could happen, you know? Karianne, if you're listening, I'm just using this as an example.
Well, it's funny because I know you had mentioned it earlier when we started recording. It's just like the eye contact thing.
Yes.
Just doing that opened you up for just enough experiences. Just doing that, because some people, they might be bolder than you are, and
Yes.
they'll open that up for you instead of, you know, you having to. But you having the nerve, to actually just stare into someone's eyes. It takes a lot to not just put your head down and
It
scan the
does.
room.
It
Yeah.
takes an effort, but
Yeah. It's worth
you
it.
are enough to make that effort.
Yeah.
And it is. All you have to do is make eye contact and have a smile on your
Yeah.
face. And it is amazing the conversations that'll come out of that.
And a good elevator pitch.
And a good elevator pitch. What I would say in an elevator pitch is, you know, somebody says, oh, what do you do for a living? And I say, oh, I put on social media conferences for the DIY space. Generally, people are like, huh? But it intrigues them.
Yep. They'll ask
You
more
know?
questions.
And they ask more questions. And that's the elevator pitch, right? You don't want to sell yourself. You just want to give a little bit to tease somebody to be intrigued and have a conversation. Now in an elevator, you generally only have about 15 to 20 seconds. So, you know, at that point, if they're sincerely intrigued, then I would hand them my card and say, I'd love to, you know, chat more if it's local, meet you for coffee or whatever. You know, it just depends on what they are.
Right. Because you're meeting people from all over the place. So
Exactly.
yeah.
But at Haven, you will want to have your card ready to hand them. If they ask you any more about whatever it is that you say, you know, I refinish furniture and I use a lot of metallic in my finishes.
Mm-hmm. then
They'll be intrigued to, you know, ask more. And if they do, make sure you have that card ready to give to them, because and then the job of the recipient of this business card is to write down, oh, she uses metallic finish in her furniture. I need to make sure that when I follow up with her, I mention that and where I met her. Right. You know, in the elevator. So that way I stand out when I'm writing to this person. I stand out and I make her feel special because I remembered something that she told me.
It's a nice tidbit. So make sure you have something to write with. Make sure you bring business cards or stickers, I assume, as well, if you don't have them. But business cards sounds like a smart idea with the writing notes and stuff. For anybody coming, that I know we've talked about what to bring, you know, the business cards like that. When they're approaching brands, what do you recommend for them? Because they're going to have a small window.
Yes. So a couple things. We have an amazing session on that. And if this information doesn't get out fast enough, it'll be also recorded on the Haven site for a short amount of time.
Okay, great.
And Stephanie Watkins with Castle Watkins Living is going to be hosting a whole session on approaching brands at Haven. But what you want to have, a media kit is a little, I would say if you have one, I think it's important to bring maybe 2 or 3. So you may just save the money off printing and have that as a reason to follow up. Oh, I wasn't able to give you the media kit while we saw each other at Haven, but I'd love to take the opportunity to go ahead and attach it here. That's a great kind of icebreaker to follow up with the brands that you meet. So I think that dressing professionally, and this means if your brand is a t-shirt and a knot to the side and a flowy skirt and tennis shoes, that's what you need to do. If your brand is really bright, fun colors and kind of quirky, that's what you need to portray. If your brand is, more Urban Outfitters, subdued, and you're kind of like the SoCal vibes, I think you need to make sure that you kind of portray the brand, your brand. So the brand or the sponsor really can get a feel of what they're going to get when they connect with you as their ambassador or, what have you.
I like that. Really I was curious, honestly, because you look in the photos and people seem to dress up at Haven. And I was like, well, I'm a t-shirt and a hat kind of girl, And that's, and that's your brand. And so that's good because that tells the sponsor who you are. And then their demographic, they might be trying to get more people like you. They might be trying to get to, exactly.
And again, be bold. You have no idea what that sponsor is looking for. Just because they've always worked with this same demographic, the same style, doesn't mean that they are not ready for change. Right. So be bold in who you are, accentuate that because you want to stand out.
Yeah.
And I know what I heard from just talking to, I don't know if I'm sure you have talked to him plenty of times, Mr. Wall Storage himself from Wall Control, Richard.
Yes. I love him.
He's great. I was on his show recently and he was a big, about being unique with your pitch.
Yes.
Like have an original, unique way that you're going to be using whatever tool or, application that you want to work with. Make sure you have something that's going to stand out from everybody else and that's going to be original to you. Cause I think that makes a huge difference when they're hearing different, pitches.
Yeah. And what is that? And that's what you need to dance that line with, right? Yeah. So if you do hand lettering, which a lot of folks do hand lettering, but your style is you add a lot of color flow through it instead of just using black, then that's what you'd say. I'm really into hand lettering and adding a lot of movement through color. Yeah. Something to like that. And I don't know, you could be an iridescent unicorn. Just whatever it is, don't be shy to let folks know what makes you different. And it's the smallest little thing all the way up to a really big new concept. You don't have to recreate the wheel by any manner of means.
Yeah, I know for just because we're talking about wall control, when they worked with me on this whole setup here, no one ever uses these little panels that keep the contents on the shelf. They always just buy the shelves. So for them, when I'm telling them I'm putting all of my paint inside of there and I'm going to be using those shelf liners, they were ecstatic because now people get to see them out in the world and being utilized,
Yes.
So it helps them too, because they get different examples, different setups that didn't have as an example before.
Exactly. Yeah. And so many of the Haven Mavens are so clever, just like that. They're so clever, so creative. I remember being shocked and stunned by one of our sponsors. For their swag, they gave a square piece of plywood. And on the back was a sticker with a challenge. And what these women did with this square of plywood, to this day, I can't tell you one. I'm racking my brain.
I'm so curious now.
Example, but it was so good, and I was so impressed. I wouldn't have thought about any of them. I mean, clearly, and now I can't even remember one. But even if it was just like a stamp, carving out a happy face and making it a stamp. It's like, it was so cool what they did. And I would just look at it and say, oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Put it to the side. Well, I think that's what makes it different for all of the people who are out there, working on their homes, making it better. They are people who go that one step above, who'll take that challenge with that piece of plywood and not just throw it to the side.
Yes.
It's a different breed. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And that's what I love. I love that creative spirit. It's beautiful. I think the power of Haven is the niche of it. We really attract the DIYers and the lifestyle bloggers who are very heavily interested in that whole design aspect. And so within meeting in person, the niche part of it, meeting like-minded people, that absolutely everybody there is interested in the same things that we all are, is huge. And it can be huge for your business. Like we talked about earlier, if you just keep your eyes to everybody else's eyes, make that eye contact, have a smile, be ready to enter into conversation, which I do. I know that we're a lot of, we work on a computer, so we do a lot of virtual kind of interaction. So one of the best things about the power of Haven is one of the barriers for social anxiety is already broken down for us, because 98% of the folks that are there already are so into what we all are already into.
Yeah.
So that's huge for us. So eyes open and smile, and chances are you're going to find somebody to chit chat with. And the second really good thing for the social anxiety breakdown is we meet 3 times during Haven. And the first time is right after the welcome reception. So right out of the gate, we're already kind of narrowing down to small groups. So 10 to 15 women are grouped together, and we work hard to group women that are in the same. So if you paint, we're going to try to put you with painters. If you build, we're going to try to put you with builders. If you're a couple blogger, we're going to put you, we really try to make our small group.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But
that's nice though. Yeah. Yeah.
So there are a couple really big ways that we really understand the social awkward moments and try to break them down, or try to break that barrier down. We also are doing a scavenger hunt that's going to be really interactive this year, which is kind of new. And then we have a hospitality crew too that are just going to be kind of floating around and very open, body language, everything, cool. Very open to answering any kind of questions and all that. So we get it. Last year was our 10th year.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was saying, like, you learned over the years things to have, like knowing that you should have people walking around who are open, are going to be engaging people. That just helps the conversation start and gets people to start mingling together and forming smaller groups to talk. Yeah, exactly.
And building that confidence, because I do think that once you have a little bit of confidence, you'll have a lot of confidence. Especially at Haven, just because the power of being with like-minded people is transformational.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. When people are interested in the topic that you want to talk about, truly interested and they know references, it's really the whole different world, a different experience. Yeah.
It's my husband can't stand that he can't park the car in the garage because my garage is full of my workshop stuff. And then you just talk about that whole thing can be an hour conversation,
Yep.
So.
And it's interesting. I mean, like you said, it's not all women that go. It's just that the majority are. So it's a different way to relate to other women. Like when you don't have that kind of a chance normally when you're in a group with other women. Like my kids said it to me before they'd come home from school, Mom, you're the only woodworker out of all the other friends' moms. We asked. Like,
We
that's
asked.
different. You know what I mean? Yeah. Little kids, we asked, but like, it's those little things that they were like proud of. So it's cool to
Yeah,
hang out with other people who probably have had those same experiences,
exactly. And these
Yeah.
these are women that are used to using tools. They probably have more tools than their partner, spouses,
Mhm.
boyfriends. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah. Very neat. For
I love it.
Workbench Con, I'm just kind of curious. Now I know we've got a long time till it comes, but it's really not that long. It comes so fast.
No, I know. I was thinking, actually, it's funny that you brought it up, because I was thinking this morning, I have got to start like
Getting that
giddy up.
going now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, like, so adding that whole other event, that's and the timing and stuff, like you have them spread apart, but man, does it feel like they collide quickly now that I'm like working with you. I'm starting to like,
Yes.
I'm like, don't sleep on Workbench Con. We got to start thinking about that. Like I keep having it in my head because right now it's get all the, you got to get all the promotions ready and get all the things together for Haven, but then you got to also be planning for Workbench Con. So do you get a lot of sponsors that work with both events, or does that not transfer?
Oh, totally transfers.
Oh, that's good.
I would say 25 to almost 50%.
That's great.
I think Workbench is a little bit more popular with sponsors. And I'm not sure exactly what the difference is there.
I'm assuming because we use more products, more, you know what I mean?
I think
there's more consumables being used.
That was actually one of the most important things for me to express at Workbench, is that's why we wanted the photography sessions and we wanted the stylization sessions. So
people really appreciated that, by the way, because a lot of people who woodwork don't have those photography skills, and it's a huge gap.
Yeah,
for them.
Or to style. It's like,
Yes.
I can't tell you how many Workbench Conners Workbench Con makers I go and I see all their pictures and their thing, like I can see that their items, their craft is absolutely mind-blowing, amazing. But it's on like, it's got all this clutter in the background. There's
an oil spill next to it.
Yeah, with sawdust and like, geez, we need to style that. We need to style these things.
Yeah. I also think too, it's a gap in just skill level in general. So like a lot of people who have been doing like woodworking for a long time, they didn't grow up with that technology, the phones and stuff like that, and using that, or maybe they're not obsessed with movies. So they don't know what cinematography is, that you should pan your camera and get like a stylized shot. They don't do that. So like they just put it in one spot and they hit record, and what you get is what you get. So it's an awakening, I think, when you go to these things and you learn like storyboard for my project. Like I'm going to actually plan out shot lists. Like that's a different world that people aren't thinking about. And I know after Workbench Con, we got tagged a ton with people just trying camera angles and loving the different look, and those takeaways from the classes were huge for people.
Yes. So. Yes, for sure. And I mean, and that's where, video has this whole cinematic, artistic aspect that is really fun to dive into. And I think now that it's being forced upon us,
right,
that YouTube will start to see a lot more. And I think YouTube is actually kind of getting into the shorts, I think they're called.
Yeah, they've been pushing their shorts because they got to compete with the reels and TikTok.
Yeah, so, but yeah. I don't know if they need to compete, because quite frankly, if I'm wanting to learn how to sand properly or do a dovetail, I'm not going to Instagram or to TikTok. Right. I'm going to go straight to YouTube, and I don't want a 30-second. I want a detailed.
Sit down. Yeah. I think the shorts are to get you for that, like that entertainment level. You know what I mean? Because we're dumb humans and we like to be entertained. So I think they're trying to appease, like, yes, you come here for learning, but maybe you should stick around to get a laugh. I think that's kind of what they're trying to do. It's more staying on the app situation.
Well, it's smart because
Yeah.
I think that's what Disney did with Pixar, right?
Oh yeah, they changed it all up.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
with those cute little shorts with all the toasters and the robots and the thises and the that's
And
at
the
the beginning of it
squirrel.
all. Yeah.
hmm My kids now, they're 6 and they're starting to like watch those little intros, and like when we can't get that acorn and they're just like dying. And I'm like, I remember seeing that for the first time, and it's really
Yeah.
funny seeing them. It's like, he can't get it. Like, you know, it's like,
He's
come on.
trying. He's
Yeah,
trying
he's
so
trying
hard.
so hard. Yeah, he just can't get it. I just think it's so cool. Like Workbench Con is so young still
Yeah. Yes.
because it is so beloved. Before I attended the first one, people talk about it, and it's like a thing that you think about all year long, and it's only 4 years old.
Yes.
Like it's pretty insane how quickly that was adapted and taken in and appreciated. That has to feel great.
It does feel great, but it also took there's a lot of big guys that helped
Yeah.
make that energy level
Yeah.
to what it is. And I am just so grateful to that group. Their sounding board, they really helped create the classes and let me know what was important, and then we're there and showed up and were available, because that's huge at Workbench Con is to be, for those guys to be available,
Mhm. Yeah, to have your
and now
people that
more
you
and
want to meet.
more, yes, and now more and more big name women that are vloggers and in this whole science and DIY and woodworking space
Mhm.
are starting to come up, and it's so
Yeah.
cool.
So my first time going was this year. And I remember previously, like they'd always talk about like, oh yeah, we would do a group shot of all the women. And
Yeah.
like this year they didn't do that, but there was no need. It was half women. Like
Right.
it's amazing to see how big it's grown. Like,
And evolved into,
yes.
yeah, because that was really, it was really meant to be more masculine. And so
Yeah.
to see all these amazing women doing, coming, and that can totally outbuild some of these guys is
It's
just so cool.
it shows how the world has been changing, where everything's an equal playing ground now. Like
Yes.
you want to go build something, go build something. Doesn't matter what sex, gender, whatever, however you identify, like go have
Right.
fun. Like, and that's
Do what you
huge.
love.
It's
Do what
huge.
you love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's for a hobby. Our goal, obviously, creating these conferences, we want you to monetize it so it sets
Right.
you free. But yeah, just do it.
Like you don't have to have a big following to attend these things. And I think people get scared about that. I know I did when I first started. I'm like, oh, I don't know. My numbers are way too small. I shouldn't go, like that's what kept me back from the first couple of years. And then
Right.
people go with 2 followers. Doesn't matter. You're just starting off. You're going to get so much knowledge that's going to boost you.
Exactly. So you
Yeah.
don't start making all those mistakes and
Yes.
wasting all that time and getting frustrated. You're actually starting with a really strong foundation.
Yeah.
So we get asked that question via email often, is this right for me?
Yes.
And if you are remotely starting of thinking a career in content creation, really, it doesn't even matter the field.
Right.
We are more geared towards the DIY space, but the information on the classes is really for any content creator, influencer.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
have to agree.
conferences. Yeah. And there's conferences. I do suggest that unless you're local, like to the Atlanta area, so it's just really easy for you to come to us. I do strongly suggest finding your niche. So if you're a travel blogger, if you're a fashion blogger, if you're makeup, whatever, if you're food, there's lots of food blogging conferences, I believe. I know there used to be, but COVID's changed things again, and I'm not quite up on everything, but I'm truly passionate about gathering people that have like-mindedness, because again, it's a virtual world we live in. So social awkwardness is a real thing.
Yeah.
And if you're already going to break down 50% of that barrier by just having very similar likes in life, that's big.
You know, what's interesting is like, I feel like we understand about the social barriers now. Before COVID, was that something that was still high on your radar? Or okay, it was, right? Because I feel like it has to be with you. I feel like you really do understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so now 2020 was like I hope that it impacted everybody for the better, because I think it did really stimulate change in a lot of ways.
It did.
But so before that, I will say it wasn't the same. I understood people not feeling comfortable and feeling rejected. No matter who they were, I understood what that felt like and what it felt like to smile at someone and not necessarily get a smile back. That was the extent. And to feel kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm this one person going to this 500 person event by myself. I'm so shy. I can't talk to anybody. I know what that feels like. And so we tried hard from the beginning to just keep hearing people's feedback and how to fix or how to help this situation. And then with 2020, all of that revelation on so many of our parts, it brought a lot of conversation that maybe had been taboo before. And now we were all of a sudden licensed to have these awkward talks with people. And what an enlightenment, So,
sure.
So now I feel like we're doing even better and better, and we try our best.
Yeah. I love that you are ready to hear feedback. Like after WorkbenchCon, you had a thing ready to go out, like a survey ready to go out. Like you knew it's important to see how people felt, what they took away, what do they want to see for the future. So I think that's really great that you want to hear that. And then you take that information and you try to implement it where you can.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we wouldn't exist if it weren't for everybody listening, So if nobody is happy, or if we can make the experience better, we're all about it.
Yeah.
That's what literally why we exist.
No, it's great. For this 7-day challenge that we're going to be doing, what is the whole inspiration behind it? Because it's very exciting.
So we are so excited to do all of the challenges, but this one is specific to win a ticket to the Haven Conference. And we are really wanting you to get outside of your comfort zone, inspire you to create content, tag us, and just get involved with all of the Haven Mavens. And that way, when we see each other, we have so much to talk about in front of each other. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's a great way to get your name out there if you haven't already. If you're afraid or uninspired, it's a great way to have a 7-day challenge like that. And then as they're posting, that you want to make sure they're doing We Are Haven 2022. So that way, so that way we can track it and everybody can follow that and see what everybody else is making.
Exactly. And we will reshare. So you will be introduced to the community. I would say
last year's party was like a flapper inspired themed one. This year it's going to be 90s theme. So like, I'm guessing like 90s R&B, like fun pop music, all that stuff.
Exactly. Okay. So it will turn into a throwdown towards the end of the night, and maybe even sooner, because we all love to dance for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of the attendees get really into the theme, which is so great. And we're looking at 90s red carpet. So anybody, whether it's a movie star, a TV star, a music, pop, idol, whoever you want to kind of dress up as, or if you're just simply inspired by the fashion of the 90s, go all out. And we're going to have, we may have a teal carpet versus a red carpet, but
a teal carpet. I like that. That's so fun.
Definitely have a photo step and repeat kind of situation. So it's going to be super fun. and highly encouraged to get into it because a lot of people do, and it is so fun.
I think it's great because it can go in any style too. Like you said, like
Yeah.
your favorite actor, you could be Robin Williams if you wanted and come in some crazy Hawaiian shirt that he would wear, like
exactly.
or you can go Pretty Woman. I was saying, or like Pretty Woman, you like do like this whole like curly hair Julia Roberts red dress thing or something, like
yes,
the
I mean,
spectrum.
that could go like all kinds of ways, right?
I really hope we have a bunch of Julia Roberts and different versions of Pretty Woman,
yes,
like
yes,
the polka dotted dress.
That would be amazing. The polka dot dress. Do you know, I still have a polka dot dress.
See?
Still from that. I loved that. I think it's even Laura Ashley, to tell you how old it is. I think it might be from the 90s.
It's vintage.
Yes, it's vintage. It's vintage Laura Ashley.
That's great. Now, have there always been a dance party at the end, or is that something that just kind of came naturally?
So pretty much we've always had a farewell dance party, and it's hilarious because I don't remember it was the first or second year when it started, but it did start very early Haven days, and it was like clear plastic plates, homemade cakes, and Coke, nice. Coke and water, and then a killer DJ, and that was it. And then as Haven evolved and my love for a good theme, we just have created themes in the last 5 years. So it's always been a dance party though. Yeah,
that's great. Sure. Well, you said Workbench Con doesn't normally have a dance party, but this year we sure did.
We sure did.
That was awesome.
Friday. So Haven is Friday night in, where we're all like in our cozies and we're crafting and learning new techniques on, some fun projects. And then a Workbench, it was a total like killer, crazy good time.
It was awesome. Funny. Yeah.
Totally different.
It was, I know it's funny because like I had asked the DJ and I was just like, can we change the music? Are we going to get in trouble? And he's like, maybe. I'm like, let's do it anyways. I'm like the bad kid up there. I'm like, come on, let's just do it.
Well, I think a load of folks are happy that you did, because it turned out to be, we've heard game changer more than once.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we were exhausted. We were done talking. It was time to party.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Everybody's ready to just let down, let go.
And it's nice that you can do it all together in one venue. Like that's the nice part, is that you keep the party contained together. Yeah. Instead of having people spread out across the city,
Yeah, or having to worry about transportation and yada yada. No, right. All inclusive, all together. I think there's something kind of sweet about that I love being part of the brand.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, thank you for taking an hour to sit with me and record this. I appreciate it.
Oh gosh, thank you. It's so fun.
All right, I hope you enjoyed getting to know Kristin. She has a lot of experience with these events now, and each year they've been transforming to another higher level. So I'm excited to see what's to come with Haven, as well as with Workbench Con. It's only been 4 of those so far, so there's only good things in the future. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe so you can see a notification for when the next episode drops. Appreciate you listening, and if you would like to support the show, please head on over to patreon.com/makerconversations. Have a great night. Goodbye.